This video, I'm going to tell you about the USD to JPY pair, or better known as the yen. The BOJ has just announced that they're going to be hiking rates on December 19th, 2025. This is going to affect not only the crypto market, but stocks and perpetuals all around the world. Because of this, I'm going to lead you guys into what I'm aiming for within the next week and the next few months leading into this so you can make as much money as possible. First level of the JPY/USD pair that I'm looking at currently is the 155 range. As you can see, we're currently rejecting this area here, and it's leading to the downside, but also structural support in this area here, okay? As you guys can see posted on the chart above. All right, so first things first, we're looking at the break of structures. I added a break of structure indicator as well as a market structure support. And what you can see here is the 1 day, and what we're leading to is resistance to the upside, which is looked at right here. And as you see, we had many break of structures to the upside here, leading to almost a breakout, but then caught the resistance to the upside. Now, the support zone we're looking for is this 150 range. So this is major support, okay, at the bottom. And what we're going to look for next is we're going to look to subtle support, which would lead to be 150 like this here. Okay. This is going to be on the lower time frames. And I'm looking for this to bounce off of this. So you can set a very small short leading into that event, and then we'll rally back from the correction that we just had here. Right. So this meaning this would be the correction here, leading down and bouncing up off of the correction and support. Okay. We want to look for longs in this zone here. These are the long zones that we want to find on the Japanese yen. Okay. And if we can find that, that's going to be pretty bullish. I'm dollar cost averaging into that main trade, though, like we talked about at the bottom, which is going to be the main support level. Okay. So my money is going to be highly bet on this bottom and trending back up. Major bullish here, right? So we're going to put major bullish, and we're going to put for the second one that we just had a minute ago, not as major bullish, but we are looking for longs here. Okay. Let's just say looking for longs, because that's what we want to do. We want to look for longs around the 150 range, and that's what's going to indicate us to find a better position with this play. All right. Most importantly, we want to see the next push and what's going to happen. And with the Japanese yen, there's a lot of logistics that you need to understand so that you can actually get into these plays. And you can look at this from the Australian, the AUD, or even the pound. You can use all of these pairs against the yen, and they'll pretty much work exactly the same. And so the next part of the video is what I want to tell you about the USD and Japanese yen, is why it's important to look at this trade, because it is a very big trade. And what you can actually do with this is make really insane amounts of money as long as you know what you're doing. And I'm going to show you the simple setup that I believe is going to happen in accordance to all of these things happening. And I'll show you the worst outcome as well. This is the best outcome as far as we can see right now. And I'm personally very bullish on this movement, looking for a long position to take in these ranges. And this is going to be a test long. So we'll put very small amount here. My major long is going to be at the major support zone, which we talked about earlier in the video, which won't be too hard to find as the main level of support is down here. Okay. Overall, throughout the months and weeks of the Japanese yen, it's had a lot of strength because it's gaining strength against the dollar. This is what happens with Forex pairs. When you see them gaining strength, they start to curl back up. And since their Forex pair date, which was 1971, they've been going completely downhill. It's majorly unadopted, but people use this as well for cheap currency use to buy certain stocks, certain assets, and even cryptocurrencies, because you can get this at such a cheap discount. And the people who were buying down here are obviously just geniuses and were majorly bullish on the Japanese yen for the past 10 or 15 years. I was not. I was 11 years old. So let's get on to the next part of the video.
About with the United States currency. I mean, the the tendency of a government to want to debase its currency over time is, there's no system that beats that. You know, you can pick dictators, you can pick representatives, you can do anything, but the people, there will be a push toward weaker currencies, and of course that is I mentioned very briefly in the annual report that the fiscal policy is what scares me in the United States.
So, just to give you guys an example of what he's talking about, the US dollar is declining, and obviously the government is pushing that for the past few years. Cryptocurrencies have been rising over the past 10 to 15 years, and now we're seeing the strength of the yen start to gain again. And you can see some people's ideas here on TradingView talking about some major support levels and fair value gaps that are listed, which is basically exactly what we've drawn up in the last one. This is the USD to EUR. So a little bit different, but we have the yen and a lot of support, fair value gaps filled, structural support, and related zones pending liquidations at the top, which would be the 157, 158 range with the USD slash yen market, the
Okay.
US dollar even. And we'll play this little Japanese little video cartoon that has little pop ups and stuff for you to enjoy, okay? Since you don't want to see my face. So, Japan, in the moral sense of all of this, is about to break the markets, yen, crypto, and this is how you're going to profit. First and foremost, you have a setup, okay? The decades of near zero rate cuts for the past 35 years. This is the first time we've seen them hike rates like this for the first time in a lot of your all's lifetime. And if it's not been in your lifetime, you were young. That made the yen the cheapest currency to borrow on earth. Okay. Funds borrowed yen brought to the US, to the bonds, to the stock market, to the crypto market, risk assets. And this is called the yen carry trade. If you've never heard of that before, do some research on what the yen carry trade is. I couldn't give you like in detail what that would be, but I do know historically the yen carry trade is pretty important. So now Japan is hiking rates. That means borrowing yen gets more expensive, right? And as we just seen on the previous chart, scroll back in the video to view exactly what I was talking about to see why the chart is going up. And when that happens, big money unwinds positions, right? So that impact is going to carry trades of unwinding, and the USD strength is going to slow, which is the US dollar. The yen is going to strengthen, and then risk assets get hit first, like crypto will drop before the stock market, but the stock market will drop, okay? And it's going to take a hit. So here's how I'm going to approach these plays and how you should approach them as well. If Japan keeps hiking the rates, which December 19th, we're going to be able to know a lot about the next role to play in this game, is I look for the USD and the yen to have a downside. But those are the support levels we were looking at, right? So if you remember on the last part of the video or previously in the video, I'll pop this up right here. You seen where I showed you the support levels? That's what we're looking for in the longs. Okay. And short rallies, I'm looking for, but not complete bottoms. That would be all the way back down. In crypto, I've reduced my leverage trades. I've been telling you guys, like, I apologize, but I'm not trying to leverage trade in a market that's like this unless it's to the downside and being very, very careful. Wait for forced selling, wait for the fear, wait for all of that. Do not do the hype thing. You're going to get wrecked. Okay. Uh, the biggest thing is since Japan is raising rates, it isn't bullish or bearish. It's liquidity changing hands, and crypto feels it first always. So you need to be warned by that. The yen is the world's funding currency. I mean, we've seen the yen and we've never seen it this way, but we've seen it at the cheapest it's ever been, and it was a great currency to use in other aspects of cheap currency. So it's going to be repriced. Okay, it's not going to moon like crazy. It's just going to be repriced, and you're going to have some very nice volatility in all markets, especially this market. Every time the yen strengthens, risk assets feel pressure. That's not an opinion. This is macro structure. Everything is going to take a hit macroeconomically and micro even. And you don't want to trade the news. You want to trade the reaction to liquidity leaving the system. So December 19th is the biggest news event. You can lead that into a short. I'm confident into that. But the day of could have some massive volatility and cause some liquidity sweeps, liquidations, if you will. And you're wanting to really stay away from all that, right? You don't want to have to force yourself to trade in that. So it's best to just be very careful and to look at this from a play of or a perspective that maybe even you buy yen to hold, spot hold. In the next couple months, the yen will be higher than it ever has been. That's why I've shown you the Warren Buffett clip just previously. Okay. And if you want, you can look at macro awareness. You don't want to be emotional and you don't want to be forced to put liquidity into something that you don't want to put your money into. But I would really look into this in the next couple of days as it's only Tuesday right now. And you could really easily learn what I'm talking about with this. And while you're watching this Japanese video of these guys about to fight each other, this is probably how the yen came to be. As you can see, this bald dude's about to hand over probably some yen to this guy. They're probably going to pay each other off. And then this guy moves countries. And yeah, you're doing all that shit. But we don't care about this. We care about making money. So make sure to keep chasing the bag. I'm Baghdaddy. And this is probably one of the best plays of the year in Forex that's going to lead into why I started the Forex channels right now. I've been predicting these things for a long time. And if you guys know in BitTeach, I'll pop it up in the chat and on this video how many times I called the Forex pairs to be launched in January on 2Bit, and us trading crypto on BitUnex is going to be insane. Do not get over leveraged or over pressured about this whole situation. Just take a back step. It's Christmas time. Chillax for a minute. And if you want to trade this with us, trade it, dude, because it's going to be an easy trade, I believe. But the crypto market's going to have some crazy days. Thank you all for watching. I'm Big Bag Daddy, and I'm out.